I'm proud to introduce the people I'll introduce tonight. They've all decided to embarrass me by dressing up far more than I, so I thought Tim was going to introduce me as the undressed Maryland State poet. Corey and I are keeping the faith. We'll start with Clara Stein. Since I first met her, Clara Stein has struck me as the kind of artist who follows her own Thoreauvian drummer. She is a woman who has the courage to move both into and beyond form, to use language and form as tools for chiseling out personal truths, to shape and craft those truths with the fire of perspective so that they aim away from the confessional and toward the universal. In her collection that she has called Peering Over the Edge, I see in her work the intentional act of vulnerability, of genuine courage, this willingness to risk with rough love, looking at one's own face. Clara Stein.
Well, that was wonderful. My name is Clara Stein, and this is my St. Mary's Project presentation of Peering Over the Edge, Selected Poetry. Before I get started, I would like to thank Michael Glazier for all of his guidance and support over the last 3 years. Dr. Glazier has helped give me the confidence to explore poetry. He's helped me put my thoughts and emotions into words that would resonate with others because they're universal. Dr. Glazier has made me understand that I had to write, and it became clear to me, especially when I was studying abroad in Oxford, that putting my feelings down on paper would be the only thing that would keep me sane. Writing can be a lonely enterprise, but Dr. Glazier helped me understand that there are universal truths. Emotions such as love and fear, success and failure, death and discovery are as much a part of human nature as the air we breathe. My 3 months in Oxford allowed me to understand these truths as nothing else could. I went on a journey, and poetry was my guide. As Emily Dickinson once wrote, "There is no frigate like a book to take us lands away, nor any coursers like a page of prancing poetry." So this evening, I hope you'll sit back and allow my pages of prancing poetry to take you away. One of my favorite parts about studying abroad was watching the seasons unfold in a different part of the world. And one day I was sitting in the university parks in Oxford, and the day was absolutely gorgeous. And I remember watching the sun come sliding through the leaves and thinking, this is a perfect moment. I want to hang on to it. And so I did. Photos in the sun. Beneath the sun dappling the trees and the fresh clipped scent of close-cropped grass, there is assurance that each year the seasons will come and go, and the tree beneath which I stand will see many other amblers, that though I and the world I know will gray and fade away, life will continue, and the smiling dark eyes of the woman in the old photograph will one day be my eyes, steady as sun-dappled trees in spring. One of the things I love most about my family is that we have such a diverse heritage. My mom is Catholic, my dad is Jewish, I was baptized Episcopalian, and I'll be married by a Presbyterian minister. Not only that, my ancestors came from almost every walk of life in every part of the globe. In fact, my little sister and I are probably the most vivid examples of this diversity. I was born with a Mongolian birthmark, and she has strawberry blonde hair and blue eyes and looks like a little Dutch Irish girl. I grew up hearing about my many ancestors, some that we're very proud of and others we can't talk about in polite company. But I wrote this poem for my little sister to explain to her where we come from and to bring all these different people together. Our story. Sister, many worlds came together to create you and me. Soil from distant lands, flavors of far away, all unite in our place. Craggy Jews, the frozen soil of Siberia, sharp with biting cold and vodka. Potato growers who toiled from dawn to dusk and came home to children and crucifixes. Our people followed secret wooded trails and knew forgotten things, dark-eyed, light-footed. Nature loved them well, and hell, the white man's steel. There are more, some I do not know by chance, others hidden in troubled times, a pope, a mobster, a slave, forgotten. Each lives in us, these people, in your flaming bright hair, Celtic princess, in my midnight eyes and lifted line, Mohican wayfarer. So different, yet our blood is the same. Be proud, sister. This is our story. Of course, growing up in a family where one parent is one religion and the other parent is another can be very confusing when you're a kid. It used to really bother me that I didn't really fit in on either side. Now I've decided to totally mess up my kids and marry a Catholic turned atheist. But my poems sum up the confusion I felt for a long time. Us and them. When I was 5, I began to masquerade, slipping silently into both camps. My name and eyes proclaimed me a Jewish child. People asked when I'd have a bat mitzvah, or told me jokes about the rabbi and the priest, while I stared blankly, adoring daddy's latkes, bagels and schmears, and glorious matzo ball soup. On the other side, the lineage of Pope-loving Polish Celts, Mom's Holy Supper, the straw under the table in case baby Jesus stopped by, trips to the church where I'd watch my dad out of the corner of my eye, hoping Jesus would be okay with him under his roof. I knew about Noah's Ark and the shortage of in-space on December 24th. A good little Christian child, head bowed in prayer. They both declared me yes, but I was one of them. Have you guys ever watched a cat and a dog play? Ever since I was little, we always had at least one cat and one dog. And I always got such a kick out of watching the cat incessantly tease and torment the dog. And after I got into a serious romantic relationship, I noted the similarities between myself and feline. My boyfriend, unfortunately, was cast as a dog. In this poem, I describe our relationship perfectly. A game we play. A cat and dog, and there's a game we play. I slink up with feline grace and twitch my tail in your face. You growl and roll over, pretending to ignore my incessant purr, my arching back, my dainty paws, pulling you away from canine matters. Cats are to be chased and caught, and who knows what to do with a cat who will not take those whiskers away and stop tickling your nose. On and on it goes, until I suddenly slink away, disheartened but not quelled, and go to make some mischief, clawing the furniture, ripping the sofa to shreds, lying on my side and wailing loud enough to wake the dead. It's all engineered to bring you closer to see exactly what is going on. Pay attention to me. Getting no response from you, I make my way to a handy shoe and leave my mark in a manner that will never quite wash away. But I usually don't resort to that. I try to be a lady cat. This is the way it's always been, since I've been a cat and you a dog. Shy and sleek, quiet and meek. Dogs can't resist a mischievous cat. I really don't mean much harm, but it's worth causing undue alarm. It's become a game, you see. Damn it, pay attention to me. Another one of my favorite memories as a child was my dad sitting and peeling oranges at the breakfast table. He'd peel oranges, maybe 2 or 3, and then he'd give them to my sister and me. And it always perfectly symbolized the way my dad has always given so much to our family. I call this poem Oranges. When I was a child, my dad would peel oranges. We'd cluster around him like so many expectant little birds, and with square fingers he'd pop little sections into our waiting mouths. Tangy citrus clinging to his nails, his golden band dented and tarnished with love. So right in the middle of my semester in Oxford, a wonderful thing happened. My boyfriend of 3 years flew to London and proposed to me one night by Tower Bridge. I was inexpressibly happy. Of course, I missed him more than anything after he left. And it was definitely a challenge to be apart for several months. And this next poem I wrote him while I was away. On a frozen evening. Walking the winter streets by night, my boots leave watery ripples in the broken snow. Indecisive, faint imprint, like 1,000 other feet that have walked up and down this street. I had to leave you to walk alone some foreign road 1,000 times before I knew. Please, love, call me inside from the snow. But since I've gotten engaged, I've realized more than ever just how special my dad is and how much I'll miss him once I've gotten married and moved away. Not too far away, right, Dad?
Mm-hmm.
And I told him he couldn't see me in my wedding gown until I made my grand entrance on my wedding day. And he told me I couldn't do that to him because he'd be a blubbering mess and unable to function well enough to walk me down the aisle. I may crack before then let him see it, but until then I have a poem especially for him. Wedding message for Dad. She's been planning this moment ever since the boy gave her a ring and she said yes. Planned it as she flipped through magazines and called caterers. Planned it as she chose flowers and contemplated candles. Even as she looked at rings that would bind her love to another. She's been remembering their times together when he was her greatest hero, the man who could do anything, who was the bravest and handsomest and smartest dad ever, and who always smelled nice. She remembered the stories he told and the way he played the trombone, as good as J.J. Johnson, and the way her little hand would disappear inside his as they walked. She hopes that he will remember these things too, when she comes down the stairs, veiled in white, when she smiles and leans her head against him, when he takes her down the aisle, her little hand disappearing beside his. Living abroad was a wonderful and sometimes difficult experience. All kinds of fears crop up when you're engaged, looking at a new future with someone and miles away from that person. But one of the things my experience in England taught me was that I can't hem myself in by fear. I need to take each moment and live each day to the fullest. And most importantly, treasure the people I love, for they are what make life wonderful. Fear. I know a beautiful woman with all the gifts God can bestow, and yet she huddles in her house, afraid to go outside, afraid to try, for fear she'll fall. She grows older each day, watching the world from her window pane. Breath fogs the glass in winter's chill, and in summer's sun she draws the drapes. I will take her to the mountain, stand on the edge looking down the ravine, where things can fall the farthest. She will cling to my arm. I will shake her loose, push her into the wind despite her clutching, sweating palms. And then I will push the limits and not fear the unknown. Move to the brink and peer over the edge. Breathe in the swirling mist on the precipice and live. Thank you so much.